course, and the C4 will be getting underway in about 20 minutes' time, actually.
So if you're wondering what happened to Josie Healy and the other Irish tandem, they haven't started, so the Irish bike you're looking at is the only Irish tandem that's on the road. They are currently leading, however, so it's not going too badly for them. They've got about 10 minutes till they get to the next time check. This is that getting on towards the top of that lumpy, undulating kind of climb. Getting to the top of it, they're not really actually. They're not. They've got a bit of it to go. It's a difficult section of the course. It's the base with that bike. Some of them, and the Irish bike we're looking at the minute, is running on rim brakes, and you can pull them pretty hard without much danger of flipping over the handlebars. But you still haven't got an awful lot that is stopping the kind of the weight and the momentum, the sheer inertia of a tandem. It requires, as a stoker, absolute faith in your pilot, because obviously, by definition, your awareness of your surroundings, your ability to see what you're going on as a visually impaired stoker, it's very limited, and it requires complete faith, complete trust. And it was one of the things that always used to alarm me when I was riding as a stoker, was just as a pilot, was the faith that my stoker had in me, particularly because we were a very young partnership. We really just did one season together, and we did our first World Championships after 3 or 4 weeks. And the trust it's essential, because you can't give the effort, you can't kind of put the power through the pedals to keep your head down and really focus on your ride if you don't have that degree of trust. But it's not something that you can absolutely take for granted.
So 10 kilometres to go. We saw Dunlevy and Kelly passing the pair from Thailand, Selo and Non Sako. It's only up 5 minutes on them, but they are the leaders out on the road.
Katie George Dunlevy, a very, very highly decorated para athlete, with very considerable track record both on the road and on the track. Quite a dynamic rider. She moves around more at the back of the bike. Here you can see she's head up, head down on the climb here at the minute, which is why it's just why she's sort of sitting out onto the base bars, just to try and get a bit more. So having a 30-second margin at after 9 kilometres on the woman who won the individual pursuit shows that Sarah Story might not have raced a track programme, might not maybe have done as much racing in the last couple of seasons as she used to do, but she's still very much a class act.
A very, very quick rider.
To very effectively and very profitably move from one to the other, and they take the lessons they've learned in one sport and transfer it to the second sport.
Well, on the descent here, it's a beautiful bit of countryside, as we've been saying.
Surprised not to see, getting back onto the chow bars, getting a bit of drive on. You can see they're kind of nearly spinning out the gears. They'll be at the smallest sprocket on the back, as you can see.
And they'll be up about 70 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, it's very, very, very quick.
And the next Polish pair, Gordon and Karine Hall.
80 kilometres an hour for
there we go.
the Irish tandem. Like I say, these sort of technical sections, which on the kind of the smaller solo bikes, which are a bit lighter and a bit more nimble, they look like nothing. Suddenly you charge at it at 80 kilometres an hour in a tandem, and it's a chicane.
Certainly great to watch.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
On the tandem, it's nice to be able to see the pictures of this part of the course.
Katie George just tucking right down in behind if she can. Yeah, they did a good job, and it's something you actually want to do because you don't want to interfere in the racing, but as a rider, if you're catching someone in that position, you would think it'd be great if they just didn't see I was here for a minute or two. Just stay out there. Try and catch them on a narrow bit of road when they're going. If you're driving a team car, of course, you are the thing you have absolute terror of driving a team car in a time trial is you're doodling along, watching your rider yakking away to them on the radio before you know where you are, because somebody else trying to get past. So you do have to concentrate.
Not easy to get past on scan. From Sarah Story before Story no doubt rides off.
Tanking into Dumfries.
Yeah, this has been a dominant performance from Dunlevy.
It's been exhibition
Kelly.
stuff.
Fantastic. Now, we talked about the potential of Unwin and Hall to keep the run of gold medals going, but Dunlevy and Kelly have put paid to that with a tremendous performance. Just the 2 turns to negotiate for the Irish pair. Over the bridge after this first turn to the left.
They've got 39-32 from Jordan and Hall to beat. They are clearly going to do that. The only question is, what can Unwin and Hall behind them do?
Of course, Sentis and Delzane as well from France. Expecting them fairly soon. So they might be about to knock Jordan and Hall out of the hot seat, but not for long, because the Irish pair are charging through the line. So they go into the lead, but for a matter of seconds, because Dunlevy and Hall cross the line. 154.
Wow.
That was impressive.
That's a big margin.
So just Unwin and Hall.
Unwin and Hall were 55 seconds on at the last time check, and so they're needing to find more than 10 seconds a kilometre.
So I think we're looking at our gold medalists here.
Just see the effort.
Well, that was one of the most impressive rides over the past couple of days.
You see Linda Kelly there. Not, as I say, Katie George's regular pilot, but has been a tremendous effort from that pairing. Absolutely tremendous. Linda Kelly, very, very strong bike rider in her own right, and knitting an absolutely tremendous team with Katie George Dunlevy. I'm very, very impressed, and I really don't see anyone taking that off them.
Highly unlikely. That's Unwin and Hall.
Jamie, the Irish para coach, just telling his athlete how well she's done, I hope.
Well, I hope so, because when I look back on that one,
there is something about tandem riding that, there's something about the inertia to it that it's worse than solo riding. You get to the finish much more buried. I don't know what it is about. I don't know whether it's the fact it's a team event or it's something to do with the physics and the biomechanics of riding a tandem. It doesn't surprise me at all to see so many of the tandem riders, lying in heaps after the finish. It's very demanding, and in a lot of respects, it feels harder than solo riding.
Well, we hear a little bit of noise in the background. Suggests Unwin and Hall maybe not too far away from crossing the line. Expecting them to go into second place. They'll push the teammates. Jordan and Hall off of the podium. There is still the tie pairing out on the course as well, but they are not going to challenge. I think that was the moment there, just being told how far ahead they were. There was just that little minute 54, and then a wry smile.
They could have tried. It's possible that they could have tried a lot less hard for the line. Could have had a much nicer day out. But you never do that. That's how you ride a time trial. You finish the job. Yeah, I think they're beginning to realise it.
And here's Sophie Unwin and
already
Jenny Hall.
Nearly a minute outside. They know they've won because they can look at the finish line and they're not there yet.
So finishing in second place, just over a minute behind, but what a World Championships for this pairing. I'm sure they'd have loved the gold today, but when you're up against an athlete, Katie George Dunlevy, in the form that she's in, and the class, the history that she has, and
it is,
see the smiles.
It's a very big margin to win. A 40 minute tandem race by now. You don't really expect to win those by a minute, and it's one of those you get these days sometimes as an athlete where it just works, it just clicks. And the days that you remember, the days that you look back on for years and say, well, that was a day when I was right, the team was right, everything was just the way I wanted it to be. And the kind of days that you look back on and think, I wish I could just bottle that and produce that when I need it. You know, they're coming into the Paralympics next year, or a year's time for the Paralympics, utterly dominant in the road time trial, and looking for opportunities to build, opportunities to go faster.
Well, great scenes in the finish here in Dumfries. You can see what it means to these two.
And I'm just wondering whether Sarah Story is performing a similar demolition job on the women's C5 category.
A half ago. So every rider that we're going to see is out on the road, and there's the standings.
And actually, looking at that from the women's tandem, it's not just beating silver by a minute, it's also beating bronze by almost 2 minutes. It's a remarkably spread out podium. You know, we've been so used to seeing very, very tight races, particularly today, over the longer course and the higher speed. The racing has got, you know, they've been very, very close, and then suddenly you get a podium that's sort of spread out across 2 minutes.
We're back to